Greetings everyone, my name is Buck Business. Konnichiwa, I'm Kawaii Critic. And today we're here to review My Little Pony Season 8, Episode 15, The Hearths Warming Club. So, we begin this episode seeing Sandbar-kun starting to sing and celebrate Hearths Warming, as it's, oddly enough, that time again. But we see that the others, being other species, don't exactly celebrate the exact same way, naturally. But they realize that they're gonna have that time off from the school. And as they're about to head off, a strange cloaked figure suddenly decides to place a item that causes goop to fall down on the tree and starts to melt it down. And Spiky-kun gets covered in this muck, but Twilight-san quickly helps him out. Rainbow-san sees the form-cloaked figure flee about and starts to look around to see where it went. It hides in one of the rooms, and then we are joined by Amber and Silverstream coming out of the doors, and the others quickly following suit after them. They are blamed since they are the only 6 remaining, and it went into one of their rooms, so they put together or surmised that it had to be one of them. So Twilight-san decides to make the students clean up and one by one go into the office. Starting off with Gallus-kun going into the office. But Amber-chan doesn't want any of this. She wants to just head home. So she tries to lure it out, but nothing happens from that. So while they start waiting and just start cleaning, Ocellus-chan decides to share that this tradition actually got passed down to them last year, and how their traditions slightly varied, but they were able to essentially get some enjoyment out of sort of mimicking the holiday as closely as they could understand it. But shortly after, Gallus-kun arrives back, and then Ocellus-chan is time to go into the office. Yuna talks about her tradition next being about smashing items, but when it comes to a specific time, it was about smashing stuff and then braiding her hair. So they try to make a subtle joke about they don't try to smash everything, otherwise there'd probably be no Yuna. But we do see some starting hints of Gallus starting to ask about her family situation. So Sandbar ends up in the office next, and Amber tells her story about this pink dragon who became the Dragon Lord after getting taken in by this other dragon and then becoming the victor. And the others see this as a bit odd, how the winner was depicted as this sort of like different outtake of what everyone else was going for, but nonetheless they kind of just got over that. So now it's Silverstream-chan's turn, and Sandbar-kun takes some time to talk about his family and about how one of his little doll almost fell, creating this almost intense story only to have the very basic ending. So while that's going on, we see that the last two, Smolder-chan and Yuna-chan, are both asked into the office about the same time. Then Silverstream-chan talks about her book and their traditions, about how they would dance for 3 days, once on the sea, then on the land, then they would all reunite on the 3rd day and dance together. And she mentions something about having various cousins, and again we get this little hint that Gallus-kun doesn't even know what a cousin is. So Sambar returns and starts to get mad that so much time has gone by, and they start to argue about who is to truly blame, and the tensions rise as they all start to blame each other. And we get a quick sneak peek as Gallus talks about his situation, how Gilda and that other nice Griffin are potentially related. I think that's what that was all about. It showed them together in the same household with Grandpa Gruff, so I'm not sure if that was to indicate that they were related or if they were siblings or something. It's still interesting. I don't remember the nice pony's name, Griffin's name, unfortunately, off the top of our head, either of our heads right now. Nonetheless, Gallus Coon reveals that he doesn't have a family, and that he did it because he wanted to stay with the others just a little bit longer. So he does eventually reveal that it was him that put this little mess about. But nonetheless, Twilight and Rainbow somehow guessed it was him. I'm not sure how they came to that conclusion. I wish they would have shown some aspect of each of the meetings, but that probably would have taken too long. But it is a bit odd that they say that they came to that conclusion, so it does feel like there is a bit missing from this episode, because they mentioned that they were able to pinpoint that it was Gallus. Again, if there was just a bit more time here, we could have seen a little bit of each interview and maybe could have gotten another hint that it was Gallus, but I think the episode does hint at it with the whole him not recognizing what a family unit is, based with the whole cousin thing, and then, the other hints while he is with the others. So there was at least that. So Twilight-san invites them to her place to celebrate with the others after their little cleaning party, I guess I'll call it. And it just ends with them sort of cleaning the mess together and then getting ready to head out. And that was this episode. This episode, while having a moral that we've seen time and time again, it is so refreshing to finally see an episode that's about the Student 6 and actually have them be a part of the lesson instead of just talking about, explaining something to someone else that's their episode. It's nice to see these students actually learn something and, actually go through the motions of that. Again, this has been what has been severely lacking from Season 8, is these new characters actually seeing who they are, and we get to actually see who they are through their families and their history. It's not just them talking or, it's just not just pointless exposition, it's actually learning about the characters, so it stays interesting in that way. And yes, seeing how Gallus doesn't have a family, it kind of really hits home with him in particular. It's a very interesting aspect to his character now that isn't, that's not something that has been really explored that heavily in My Little Pony before, is a character that doesn't have a family, and they just kind of talk about it. Very briefly, mind you, but it does, it shows him sort of just looking in the house of Gilda and the Happy Griffin, whatever her name is, and just sort of kind of wishing, kind of having that look. But, yeah, I actually think this episode's really good, even though it has a moral we've seen before. Just having it deal with the characters that should have been getting episodes this entire season, if you ask me. The first half of the season should have just been all this. Just the Student 6 getting all these lessons that were repurposed for the main 6 to learn and start over for whatever reason. Really stupid, but thank goodness for this episode. It's a step in the right direction, and I hope that the rest of the season, the second half, follows suit with this. This is where we need to go and start heading continuously to see that growth and character development for these characters, because they are the next generation. They are the characters we're going to start to be following more, hopefully. So it would be kind of nice to see more of this. Focus on them. And that is our review of this episode. Stick top, ting tong tori! And if you like this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, farewell. Bye-bye!